Hi, and welcome to Wednesday. Today's going to be a little bit different. Today I'm going to talk about ghosts that have destroyed marriages. And this is what went on in their house. And it's not your normal, I know there's a ghost in my house. It's not the banging of the furnace or the closet doors opening and closing, or when you're down the basement, you can hear footsteps walking across the top, or when you're in the living room, you hear scraping in the attic. Those are common. The kids being afraid of the room, not feeling good, bad headaches. This is, those are just your regular everyday stuff that can happen when you've got a ghost in the house. These ghosts that are in this house worked to get these two people apart. It's the energy that some of these ghosts have at what they did was pretty amazing. Let's do the first one. Both the husband and wife were home when I went over. Both were very angry at each other, fighting constantly, and this had started about 4 or 5 months prior to them calling me. And the first thing the husband says when I got in the house was, I want this ghost to tell me who my wife is messing around with. I want his name now. And the wife is going, I am not having an affair with anybody. I am not messing around. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know why you've been acting like this. Doesn't make any sense. The husband says, this is why, and he leaves the room and he comes back and he's holding up a Fruit of the Loom undershirt in a 2X. And he holds it up, and this man was not a big man. He said, I wear a large. He said, this is not mine. I don't like Fruit of the Loom. All I wear is Hanes. Actually, that was more information than I needed to know. But at any rate, the wife said, where did you find that? And he said, folded up in my undershirt drawer. And the wife did all the laundry. She did all the folding. She put all of his clothes away. She said, I've never seen that shirt before. And he said, well, I didn't put it there. Here, the ghost, definitely, he was standing there laughing. He did not like this man, and he wanted them to cause the fights. I don't know where this man found this undershirt or, but it was enough to set this guy off. He was a little bit jealous, anyhow, and this was all it took. And the ghost actually did that. The next house, both the husband and wife were home when I went out. The husband was wealthy and considerably older than his second wife. His first wife had died, and this gal, very pretty gal, caught his eye, and she married him. And so they were sitting there, and he says to me, "Why is she trying to think I'm crazy? Is she going to have me committed?" And we're sitting in his library, and the wife is saying, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? He was very, very particular. He liked his books in his library shelf in the right order. Some of them were by color, some of them were by subject matter. And he stood up and he walked over to a couple of the shelves and he said, look at how all of these books that are in a red jacket, now there's a blue one in the middle. I didn't do that. She did it. She says, I've never touched your books. I don't even come in here unless you're in here. Why would I do that? And he said, the other thing that she's doing is I have a substantial watch collection. He said, and I have them in a safe in my closet. And I went in there And the safe was open. The watches were there, but they were all put in different boxes. She said, I don't even know the combination for that safe. And he said, well, you must have got it somehow because I didn't do it. Here, the wife, he did not like the ghost that was in the house, thought that this man was absolutely ridiculous. There is no way he should have a wife that was that young. And he was absolutely trying to convince the husband that the wife was trying to have him committed. Or so he could, so that I have a cat that's being very naughty over there. And it's really disturbing me. Bill, get down. Sorry. Okay. And so that was the ghost problem. He did not like his young wife. Next house, the wife said, he's gotten so mean and contrary. We've only been married 11 years, but it feels like 100. We have no kids. We are well off. We could travel, have fun, go anywhere we wanted to go, see any place we wanted to see. We were going to do that. We did that for the first 9 years. Now he won't do anything with me. He used to be fun, but not anymore. I'm bored. He knew I was like this before I married him, and I'm not going to change. Husband said, it's my company, and I really don't have to go to the office daily. And everything my wife is saying is true. I don't know how I could have changed in such a short period of time. I feel like I'm 90, feeble, tired, forgetful, ache all over, but the doctors say I'm fine. The ghost died right after the Big Depression. Everything was money, money, money with this ghost. He didn't like the wife and her spending sprees. She was spending all his money. The vacations were frivolous. They didn't have to go. They could stay home. Why did he have to spend all this money? And he was hoping that if he could make the husband this cranky and this irritable, that he would divorce his wife and be able to save his money. So that was that ghost problem. This one, the wife calls me up. She says, my husband's in prison for stealing an 18-wheeler. I said, okay. And he was a long-haul truck driver from on the East Coast. He would haul from Maine to Virginia. And he would be gone sometimes 3-4 days. And this was about 40 years ago. So this was a while. It was a large company that he worked for, and they had acquired a used 18-wheeler truck. And this was her husband's truck to drive from this point on. It's a terrific truck, apparently. Okay, if you say so. And he really liked it. He even talked the owner of the company into letting him bring the truck home with him when he wasn't on the road. And they had a side lot that was suitable for it to be parked there, and it wasn't an issue. And he just loved this truck. He would go out and wash the truck. The sleep part of it, the sleeping part of it, he redid it. He put new covers on the seats. He put all this fancy equipment on the truck at his expense, making the wife crazy. He would not let the kids anywhere near it. Anytime he was home, he was washing this truck 3 and 4 times. I mean, constantly washing it. Came in the house screaming one time that the kids threw mud on it. The kids weren't even home. She didn't know how that happened. So what had happened is that he took his truck on had a trip to make, and hid the 18-wheeler in the woods in Maine, the state of Maine. He just buried it somewhere in the woods, got away, and obviously everybody was after him. And 40 years ago there was no GPS, there was no cell phones. They couldn't track a truck like they can now. I mean, truck owners know exactly to the mile marker where they are. That back then, and because of the load he was hauling, he ended up in prison. He would not tell them where the truck was. He claimed he didn't know where the truck was. He didn't know what had happened. He just said he must have had some kind of a seizure or something that this happened. Didn't know if the truck was whole, if it was smashed. Nobody knew anything. And he got out of prison, and she called me up to come to the house because she wasn't sure what he would have brought back with him from prison. And believe it or not, he still had the original truck driver that owned the truck. And this truck driver loved his truck so much. It was he was. Did you ever hear a person say when they're getting divorced from somebody, if I can't have you, nobody can have you? This is the mentality that this trucker had. If I can't be alive and drive my truck, nobody's going to drive my truck. And he was just making this man absolutely goofy, making him buy this stuff, making him do this stuff. And because of that, the man had to go to prison. As of 22 years ago, they never have found that truck. I don't know if they have found it since. But back then, they definitely did not and could not find the truck. A real estate couple, both worked for the same company, had college kids. They were, in their mid-50s, fine. And they were very, very good at selling houses, and this was their thing. They had a home office, and there were 2 desks in it and file cabinets that each one of them had. Normally, they really weren't working in the office at the same time, so that really wasn't an issue. So one day the husband is in his office, and he went over to his wife's desk. He needed staples for his stapler. And he sat down at her desk, and he opened a drawer where the staples were, and he picked the box up, and he opened the box up, and as he's looking down at getting the staples, she's got one of those big desk calendars on the desk, where you can write things inside the day. And on every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, there was an exclamation point. And after the exclamation point, it said 1 p.m. And he looked down the calendar, and every calendar had it. And he's looking at the Wednesday before, and he's thinking, I think she went and had to a spa. He was trying to figure out where she went at 1 o'clock on the Wednesday before. And he sort of didn't think about it anymore. He just thought she, got her nails done or something. And then he went in the next day, or a couple hours later, he walked in the kitchen, and the wall phone rang, and he picked it up. And as soon as he said hello, and it was during the day, whoever was on the other end just hung up. They never said anything about it. And he didn't really think about it. He thought, yeah, okay. And then he remembered asking his wife. He said, what do you do every Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? She goes, what? Who told you what? What? And he said, no, it's on your calendar. He said, it's Wednesday, 1 o'clock with an exclamation point. She says, on whose calendar? He said, your calendar. She goes, what are you talking about? She goes in her office, in their office, looks at her calendar. She never wrote those. And she scribbled them out. She goes, I don't know what this is. This is crazy. Maybe I was doodling. I don't know. I don't know. So he thought, yeah, well, okay. So there was a body lotion that she always used when they were intimate. And her husband was real happy. He had walked in to their master bedroom into the bathroom, and there was her bottle of lotion out. And geez, happened to be a Wednesday. And he looked at that lotion, and they had been so busy. I mean, going in 3 different directions. They really hadn't had any alone time for about 3 or 4 weeks. And he's thinking, why is this bottle of lotion out? So he goes in the bedroom and he said, are you feeling frisky? Is that why your lotion is out? She says, what are you talking about? He says, our lotion is sitting on the sink in the bathroom. She said, did you put that there? He goes, no. Well, to make a long story short, guess who was having an affair? That's right, her. And the ghost tattled on her. And the bottom line on this was, by the time these people called me, it was really too late. They should have tried to get hold of me earlier. All the ghosts did go. Everyone went into the light. But they all did get a divorce. So some ghosts are really, really hell-bent on breaking people up. Okay, today is Wednesday, and it is the 16th. It's also a full moon. And so if you have ghosts in your house, this week would have been a week you would have known about it. There are still some Zoom spaces on the 16th. The first one in March will be on March 11th. This Saturday, the 19th, I will be at the Goddess Elite from about 4 o'clock on. There will be a talk at 6 o'clock. And check my website. There's a bunch of stuff coming up that would really be fun to come out. And I think next week we're going to talk about ghosts that cause problems in businesses. Have a great week.